श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नम ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य सतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So let us do a quick recap so that we are back into context. Yeah. So we'll do a quick recap of this, the whole thing, what we have seen. Yeah. So chapter 25 first. Yeah. So what happened was the Prachinavari's sons, the Prachetas, they've been asked to take householder life, and before accepting that, or grasta life, before accepting that, they went to austerity, and there they met Lord Shiva. Basically, Lord Shiva was kind enough to give his darshan to them, and then he guided them for performing austerity, basically tapasya towards Lord Vishnu. And while they were performing that, here Narada Muni saw that Prachinabhari, he is so much engaged in animal sacrifice, which is kind of karma kanda activities. And Narad Muni, just a second, someone on the tour. So Narad Muni thought to give him some lesson and advice for the higher cause instead of animal killing. So he asked and discussed with Prachinabharisat what you will get with this. And eventually Narada Muni happened to guide him with a story and metaphorical allegorical story where he described about a story of a king called Puranjana. And Puranjana is none other than the Jiva itself, that we understood in that. And we understood about how Puranjana got into the city of 9 gates, basically how Jiva comes into the body of these 9 gates, and then how his intelligence works, and then he got married with the intelligence, and eventually we saw that in this chapter. Yeah. So then in next chapter, in 26th, we saw that King Puranjana, he went to forest to hunt. It means that he left his good wife and he went for sense enjoyment. And how it relates to a jiva? A jiva, he forgets his real identity as Krishna consciousness, but he engages himself in sense gratification. He forgets that what his real identity is. Eventually, the king got tired from the forest and he comes back, and his queen becomes angry. Basically, the chaste wife becomes angry on him. But eventually, we saw that King Puranjana somehow or other managed to please her. And when we also saw that when King Puranjana comes back, he was tired, he took shower, he took some food. So that relates to when we get frustrated with the material activities, we take shelter of spiritual teachers, the sages. We hear from them, we understand what the real duty of a human being is. Yeah. So eventually he managed to place his queen. Then in text 27 we saw that how king was so much busy in his sense gratification itself. He had so many children, 1100 sons and 110 daughters, and he completely forgot that he has lost his time. And at the time this Kalakanya attacked, or Chandavega, the Chandavega is the time passes through, and the Gandharva days, the Gandharvis are night, and then the Kalakanya is the old days, right? Um, they all attacked, right? So basically, the disease, the uh, fever has all come through him. Yeah. So that's a very brief of this chapter. And then we entered chapter 28, which says that Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. And in this chapter, as of now, we have discussed about how he was so much attached to his family, especially his queen. And then, in due course of time, because he was getting old and his all of his senses become weak, even the five-wooded air in the body, they were still fighting for their life. He got a very, very high fever called as prajwara, which is like burning fire. And this five life air, they could not fight with that. And Prabhupada says that when there's a forest fire, the snakes are the first to get burned because they can't flee. The birds they all can actually jump and fly through, but the snakes, they crawl in the ground, right? And then Puranjana, seeing his condition, he started lamenting about what happens next to my wife, to my children, and all that. He was so anxious, he was so in anxiety. Yeah. So, and eventually, there's a fear of death comes, and he dies. So let us continue from there now. Yeah, any quick questions, comments, or want to share something which I missed out in a just quick brief? Please let us know, and we will continue from text 25 from now. I hope we are on the same page now. I think we are 2 weeks we stopped, so we are back now, and we just give a quick recap of that. Let us see from here. So as of now, we have seen that in text 24, the king died. Yeah, the serpent who had already been arrested by the soldiers of Yavanaraj and was out of the city began to follow his master along with the others. And as soon as they are all left the city, it was immediately dismantled and smashed to dust. So we know as soon as the soul leaves away the body is of no use and it gets actually smashed into the dust. Yeah. So let us see what happened next to King Puranjana. विकृष्यमाणं प्रसभं यवनेन बलीयशा नाविन्दत्तमशाविशक्ष्यां सुहृदं पुरः. Yes, Kishori Prabhu.
When King Puranjana was being dragged with great force by the powerful Yavana, out of his gross ignorance, he still could not remember his friend and well-wisher, the Super Soul.
So very important is that at death, the soul is being dragged. King Puranjana is soul, right? Remember this all the time. So when the King Puranjana was being dragged with great force by, the powerful Yavanas, so taking death to the Yamalokas, and out of his ignorance, he could not remember his friend and well-wisher. Who is that? The best friend, the Super Soul. Yeah. So Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Lord Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarabhutanam Yatamam Santim Rachati. A person can be in full Krishna consciousness and become happy and satisfied if he knows but three things. Namely, the Supreme Lord Krishna is the enjoyer of all benefits, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that he is the supreme friend of all living entity. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord, supreme enjoyer of all benefits. He is the proprietor of everything, and he is the supreme friend of all living entities. Sardam Sarvabhutanam, about everyone, no discrimination. Yeah. If one does not know this and functions instead under the bodily conception, he is always harassed by the tribulation offered by material nature. In actuality, the Supreme Lord is sitting by the side of everyone. Ishwara Sharabhutanam Hrideshu Arjuna Tisthati, Bhagavad Gita 1861. The living entity and the super soul are sitting side by side in the same tree. But despite being harassed by the laws of material nature, the foolish living entity does not turn toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead for protection. However, he thinks that he is able to protect himself from the stringent laws of material nature. This, however, is not possible. The living entity must turn toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto him. Only then will he be saved from the onslaught of the powerful Yavana or Yamaraj. Yeah. I think there was a question by Rupesh Prabhu, I remember, and then in that question we discussed about those, the experiment by Pavlov, where we saw the rat or mouse trap, where the mouse is being trapped between in a cage, and then he's moving from left and right, and the eventually the door was being opened, right? But the mouse was so engaged in going from left to right. He was so much absorbed that shall I go for left to eat the cake or shall I go to right to eat the cake? But he was not looking at the center. The center is opened. In a similar way, we living entities, we are so much absorbed or conditioned by this raga, dvesha, bhoga, tyaga, attachment and aversion, that though it's quite clear, we do not see the open gate by the Lord Krishna through bhakti yoga, that we can surpass this whole suffering in this material world, isn't it? That's what we discussed last week. And the word Sakyam, or friend, is very significant in these words because God is eternally present beside the living entity. The Supreme Lord is also described as Suridam, ever well-wisher. The Supreme Lord is always a well-wisher, just like a father or mother. Despite all the offenses of a son, the father and mother are always the son's well-wisher. We see the book Your Ever Well-Wisher, Srila Prabhupada, right? So our dearest and always for everyone well-wisher is Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? Similarly, despite all our offenses and defiance of the desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord will give us immediate relief from all the hardship offered by material nature if we simply surrender unto Him, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mam eva prapadante mayam etam tarantite. To cross these material nations, actually we just need to take shelter of Krishna. Unfortunately, due to our bad association, great attachment for sense gratification, we do not remember our best friend, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So same Puranjana means the Jiva, they could not remember. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita as well that anyone who remembers me at the time of death, they come to me.
So feel.
Yeah. So, but it's difficult. It's difficult. Prabhupada says it's difficult if you don't practice this regularly. It's difficult to remember Krishna.
Right.
Text 26. Tam yajna pasavonena sangapta yedayaluna kutatreschitriukruddha smaranto mivam ashvat ashyatat. Yes, Jai Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
The most unkind king, Purnjana, had killed many animals in various sacrifices. Now, taking advantage of this opportunity, all these animals began to pierce him with their horns. It was as though he were being cut to pieces by axes. Hare Krishna.
I mean, we can see basically, I mean, when we go to Canto 5, the last chapter is going to give us more information about all these things. So when he's being dragged, because he had killed many animals, and now taking advantage of this opportunity, all these animals began to pierce him with their horns. Can you imagine how painful it would be for him, right? So those who were very enthusiastic about killing animals in the name of religion or for food must await similar punishment after death. Wow. The word mansa meat, indicate that those animals whom we kill will be given an opportunity to kill us. Although in actuality no living entity is killed, the pains of being pierced by the horns of animals will be experienced after death. Not knowing this, rascal unhesitatingly go on killing poor animals. So-called human civilization has opened many slaughterhouses for animals in the name of religion or food. Those who are a little religious kill animals in temples, mosques, and synagogues.
Mm.
And those who are more fallen maintain various slaughterhouses. Just as in civilized human society, the law is a life for life. No living entity can encroach upon another living entity as far as the Supreme Lord is concerned. Everyone should be given freedom to live at the cost of the Supreme Father. An animal killing, either for religion or for food, is always condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita 16:19, Lord Krishna says, Tan aham divishta kruran samsareshu naradhaman Shipyami ajasaram ashvan ashuriv eva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. The animal killers, Drishta, envying other living entities and the Supreme Personality of God, are placed in darkness and cannot understand the theme and objective of life. This is further explained in the following verses. So, the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita clearly, right? Text 27. Ananta pare tamasi magno nashta smriti sama shashvatair anubhuyartim pramada sanga dostita. Rupesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Due to his contaminated association with women, a living entity like King Puranjana eternally suffers all the pangs of material existence and remains in the dark region of material life, bereft of all remembrance for many years.
Bereft of all remembrance for many years. Just imagine. Yeah. I mean, these are the words of Bhagavatam itself, right? It can't go wrong at all. So this is the description of material existence. Material existence is experienced when one becomes attached to a woman and forgets his real identity as the eternal servant of Krishna, Nashta Smriti. In this way, in one body after another, the living entity perpetually suffers the threefold miseries of material existence. To save human civilization from the darkness of ignorance, this movement was started. So, wow. The main purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to enlighten the forgetful living entity and remind him of his original Krishna consciousness. In this way, the living entity can be saved from the catastrophe of ignorance as well as bodily transmigration. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Anadi karma phale pari Anadi karma phale pari bhavarnava jale तारी बारे ना देखी उपाय এই বিষয় হালাহলে দ্বিধ নিশি হিয়া জলে মন কবু সুখ নাহি পায় because of my past futile activities I have now fallen into the ocean of nuisance. I can't find any means to get out of this great ocean, which is indeed like an ocean of poison. We are trying to be happy through sense enjoyment, but actually, that is so-called enjoyment is like food that is too hot and causes burning in the heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly, day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. Wow. Material existence is always full of anxiety. People are always trying to find many ways to mitigate anxiety. But because they are not guided by a real leader, they try to forget material anxiety through drink and sex indulgence. Foolish people do not know that by attempting to escape anxiety by drink and sex, they simply increase their duration of material life. It is not possible to escape material anxiety in this way. Yeah, I could I could recall one of my incident. I was in India that time. I was not in Scotland, and I went to another city for my company for a 3 weeks client side project, and so after 2 weeks we were about to come. So because we were there, and then that team they wanted to give us a kind of party. So it happened to be um, in a party. I mean drink, and then they invited. So we were three of the people. We came from other city. So I asked them what party is for and what is going to be. He says nothing much. We're going to just drink it. And then I said sorry, I don't drink, so I don't think it's good for me to be there. Anything else? Then I can join. Sure.
Mm.
Eventually, the manager said, "Oh, is it you don't drink?" So I know I say yes, I drink water, but nothing else. And then he says, "Okay, so why is it?" Because I says I follow some spirituality, so it doesn't that doesn't make me feel good that I would drink like that. Oh, so spirituality. You know what? Spirituality means taking oneself to a something higher consciousness. I say yes. And you know what? When you drink also you take your consciousness higher. You forget everything. So I said yes, you forget everything. But when we take consciousness higher in Krishna consciousness, we don't forget ourselves, but we try to find ourselves more better than that person. And then I think he convinced, he said, okay, I can't take you anymore. Then okay, you can go home.
Sure.
So yes, so the people who are kind of engaged in drinking, they think that yes, by drinking we mitigate our anxiety, but actually this mitigation of anxiety happens only for some time. As soon as you come out from your hangover, you are back into reality of the anxiety again, isn't it? So the word pramada sanga dushtita indicate that apart from all other contamination, if one simply remains attached to a woman or women, The single contamination will be sufficient to prolong one's miserable mental existence. Consequently, in Vedic civilization, one is trained from the beginning to give up attachment for women. The first stage of life is brahmachari, the second is grasta, third is vanaprastha, and the fourth is sannyasa. All three stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. Yeah, okay. Text
Prabhu,
20. Yeah.
may I say something?
Yes, please.
My I learned a long time ago from a doctor friend. They wondered how your consciousness can survive alcohol. They do not know why it does. And when you drink alcohol, you rely on your primitive brain. You have two brains. You have a like a primitive brain. It is animalistic. So you made a great choice. It was
Mhm.
a wonderful choice. So they say that when you drink alcohol, you are functioning on an animalistic brain, a primal brain. And your conscious brain shuts down. So you had made a great choice, Prabhu.
Certainly, it's a blessings by Prabhupada and our, all parampara, nothing else.
Absolutely, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, text 28. Tam eva manasa gृह्णन् बभुव बभुव प्रमदोत्तमा अनन्तरं विदर्भस्य राजसिंहस्य वेशमणि. Urmila Mataji?
Hare Krishna. King Prajna gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently, in his next life, he became a very beautiful and well situated woman. He took his next birth as a daughter of King Vardaba in the very house of the king.
So, King Puranjana now took another life. Yeah. Since King Puranjana thought of his wife at the time of death, he attained the body of a woman in the next birth. This verse of this verifies the following verse in Bhagavad Gita 8.6. I think I was quoting the other verse where Krishna says, "You come to me." Prabhupada's quote here that whatever we think, we get it. Yam yam vapismana bhavam tayante ante khalevaram tam tam evanti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. When a living entity is accustomed to think of a particular subject matter or become absorbed in a certain type of thought, he will think of that subject at the time of death. At the time of death, one will think of the subject that has occupied his life while he was awake, lightly sleeping or dreaming, or while he was deeply sleeping. After falling from the association of the Supreme Lord, the living entity thus transmigrates from one body form to another according to nature's course, until he finally attains the human form. If he is absorbed in material thoughts and ignorant of spiritual life, and if he does not take shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who solves all questions of birth and death, he will become a woman in the next life, especially if he thinks of his wife. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:31:1, Karmana Deva Netrena. Yeah, Karmana Deva Netrena, the netra of the divine. A living entity acts piously and impiously, and sometimes in both ways. All actions are taken into account, and the living entity is offered a new body by his superior. So that's how, by our activities, by the Deva Netra, the higher authority as eyes, we get things. Although King Puranjana was overly attached to his wife, he nonetheless performed many pious activities. Consequently, Although he took the form of a woman, he has given a chance to be a daughter of a powerful king. Because of his piety, yeah, because of piety, he got a good birth. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 641, Prapya Punam Kritam Lokan Utthistva Sashvatai Sama Suchinam Smitam Gehe Yoga Bhrasto Vichayate. So, three kinds of birth actually. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entity, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So that is the good benefit of at least doing some pious work, that you get a good family, now aristocrat family. And Prabhupada also says that when person performs bhakti more, then he takes birth in the family of a Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, to continue his bhakti. If a person falls from the path of bhakti yoga or God realization due to attachment to fruitive activity, philosophical speculation, or mystic yoga, he is given a chance to take birth in a high and rich family. The higher authorities appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus render justice to the living entity according to the living entity's desires. Although King Puranjana was overly absorbed in thoughts of his wife and thus become a woman, he took birth in the family of a king due to his previous pious activities. The conclusion is that all our activities are taken into consideration before we are awarded another body. Narada Muni therefore advised Vyasadeva that one should take to Krishna consciousness, devotional service, and abandon all ordinary occupational duties. This advice was also given by Lord Krishna himself. Although a devotee may fall from the path of spiritual consciousness, he will nonetheless attain a human body in the home of a devotee or a rich man. In this way, one can resume his devotional service. Yeah, this is assurance by Krishna. Yeah. उपये मे वीर्यपणा वेदर्भी मल्यध्वजा योधीय निर्जित रजायान पांडवया परपुरंजय. Is Tell Mataji?
Hare Krishna. It was fixed that Vaidarbhi, daughter of King Vidarbha, was to be married to a very powerful man, Malayadvaja, an inhabitant of the Pandu country. After conquering other princes, he married the daughter of King Vidarbha. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. In a customary among Kshatriyas for a princess to be offered under certain conditions. For instance, Draupadi was offered in marriage to one who could pierce the fish with an arrow simply by seeing the reflection of that fish. Krishna married one of his queens after conquering 7 strong bulls. The Vedic system is for a daughter of a king to be offered under certain conditions. The Vedic system is for a daughter of a king to be offered under certain conditions. Vaidarbhi, the daughter of Vidarbha, was offered to a great devotee and a powerful king. Since the king Malyadhwaja was both a powerful king and a great devotee, he fulfilled all the requirements. Thus the name Malyadhwaja signifies a great devotee who stands as firm as Malaya hill, and through his propaganda makes other devotees similarly as firm. Such a Mahabhagavata can prevail over the opinion of all others. A strong devotee makes propaganda against all the spiritual conceptions, namely Jnana, Karma, and Yoga. With his devotional flag unfurled, he always stands fast to conquer other conceptions of transcendental realization. Whenever there is an argument between a devotee and a non-devotee, the pure, strong devotee comes out victorious. The word Pandya comes from the word Panda, means Panda means knowledge. Unless one is highly learned, he cannot conquer non-devotional conceptions. The word Para means transcendental and Pura means city. The Parapura is Vaikuntha, or the kingdom of God, or transcendental city, you can say. And the word Jaya refers to one who conquers, who can conquer. This means that a pure devotee who is strong in devotional service and who has conquered all non-devotional conceptions can also conquer the kingdom of God. In other words, one can conquer the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, only by rendering devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Ajita, means that no one can conquer him. But a devotee, by strong devotional service and sincere attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can easily conquer him. Lord Krishna is fear personified for everyone, but he voluntarily agreed to fear the stick of Mother Yashoda. Krishna, God, cannot be conquered by anyone but his devotees. Such a devotee kindly married the daughter of King Vidarbha. Okay, we'll stop today here. We'll continue on text 30. Next Monday. Oh, next Monday again. I'm away for another thing, but I might be back. I'll see what happens on next Monday. Okay. Hare Krishna. We'll join tomorrow for our nectar devotion reading anyway. Hare Krishna, devotees. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your association, for your help.
Thank you,
this
Prabhuji.
Association.
Thank you so much.
this Sunday we had a good Rath Yatra in Edinburgh as well.
Mhm.
Urla Mate, were you there? I do not see you. If
Prabhuji, actually I wanted to, but the thing is the same time and same day we had the Rajasthani, our program, and I was like appointed there for some work.
okay, no problem. We got something back in July as well in Glasgow.
Normally my family every year they attend this, and this time normally I would be in India. So I'm leaving day after tomorrow.
Okay,
But
okay.
this time I wanted to join, but I couldn't, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem, Mataji.
Okay,
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.